Hey, what's going on, everybody? So, I was just thinking the other day about all the lessons that I've learned in the weight room over the years. And, man, one of the best weight rooms I was ever in was the Ball State weight room. And for about 3 years, I was in that weight room damn near every day with Coach Robe, Coach Mandy, Andy Galpin, a bunch of other guys who are, committed to the human performance field. So I had an awesome opportunity to learn from every one of them on a daily basis and ask whatever questions I wanted. And it was truly an environment that fostered learning and discussion and asking questions. And that was very important to me when I was going through my undergrad and had questions about why does this work, how does this work, how do we apply it in the weight room, because it's not enough just to know this stuff. It's how do you have these discussions with athletes, and then how do you get them to perform the way you want them to perform. And the way you get better at that is just by coaching day in and day out and seeing a lot of different bodies. Because if you only coach one type of athlete, yes, you will get better at helping that one type of athlete, but not every athlete is going to have the same limb lengths. They're not going to have the same training age or accumulated miles on their body. So it helps to see a wide variety of athletes to give you the best perspective possible. And it helps to coach athletes who are at entirely different levels, because Ball State is a D1 school. It's a mid-major. Those athletes looked and performed differently than ones at University of Wisconsin lacrosse when I was there with Coach Kevin Schultz. That's a Division III school. So then my first position was at an NAIA school. So all of them just had different types of athletes and different training ages, all of those things, and it really helped over the years, and continues to help as I see more and more, especially with the tactical population, come through the doors and see, what have they done leading up to their career with tactical. So anyway, I remember very clearly during one of my sessions when I was working out on my own, I was following a program that Coach Robe had put together, and I had hit my target weight. And this was, Ball State had Tendo units, and I'm sure they still do. And Tendo units is just a tool to measure velocity on the bar. So, and it'll spit out like how many watts are you putting out on a given rep. And then within the set, it'll say, okay, here's that last rep was X% of your best. So that way you can start to manage and look at, drop off of your best performance within that set. So anyway, the workout I was doing for the day was 5 sets of 3, and I can't remember the exact prescription as far as what should the target weight be, or what should the target velocity be. I can't remember what that was exactly. But I remember I hit my first set of those back squats, and I went over to Coach Robe and I was like, hey, this feels really easy. Can I put more weight on the bar? And his answer was no. He just kind of smiled. He's like, no. Did you get all your reps? Yes. Okay, well, then it was, don't put more weight on the bar. just move the bar faster. And the lesson in that is a couple things. There's a few lessons to take away here. Is number one, more is not always better. It's do better with what you're attempting to accomplish. Make that better. Enhance that in some capacity is really what he was getting at. But then, after I went back, did what I was supposed to do, stayed at that weight, hit my target velocities, all that stuff, and sat down in his office and we were talking about that training session. And he goes, look, there's two primary ways to accomplish, specifically for type 2 muscle fiber development. There's two primary methods we rely on. Number one is going to be lift a maximal load with the intent to move it as fast as you can. Or you can lift a sub-maximal load with the intent to move it as fast as you can. So what is the underlying principle there? It's important to focus and have the intent to move the bar as fast as you can, regardless of the load. That is something that is not talked about enough. A lot of people will, if they're training, they will just kind of go through the motions and there's no real thought behind what they're doing. That is what is so challenging when it comes to strength training, is putting 100% focus not on the set, but with each and every individual rep within that set. That's the hard part. And then if we want to maintain appropriate velocities, we're generally going to spend time with less than 5 reps because we start to see a significant velocity drop off past the third rep in the set. So anyway, it really comes back to just a basic physics equation where we have force equals mass times acceleration. So some days we will focus and hedge more on the mass side of the equation. Other days we will focus and hedge more on the acceleration portion of the equation with a smaller mass. And it can obviously get far more complex than that. But for the vast majority of folks, it doesn't need to be more complex. In fact, Dr. Fred Hatfield talked about compensatory acceleration training. So he'd say, train like a cat. So focus on compensatory acceleration training. And what that means is you have the intention to move the bar with maximal force every single time. And what he found was at 78% of 1 rep max is where we have this great blend of strength and power. So most of the time, people just round that up to 80%. And smart people will spend the majority of their training year in the 70 to 85% range. They will save the 90% plus stuff for competition, or they will make sure they're measuring it appropriately so they don't do too much of that 90% stuff. Not that it's bad nor wrong to do too much, not that it's bad nor wrong to do 90% work. It's just a matter of, a lot of times it's very addictive, and a lot of people can get caught up in continuing to push 90% plus weights all the time. And the issue with that is when that's happening all the time, you head into fatigue very quickly, and it's hard to recover from that and have enough training sessions that are meaningful. So a lot of times people will look at, they'll compare and contrast, we'll look at the Bulgarian system and look at the Russian system. So the big difference is when we look at the Bulgarian weightlifters, who are generally going to maximum or near maximum multiple times a day, obviously, I believe the highest number I've seen is 13 sessions within the week, but that's debated. I'm sure it goes higher than that, where they're hitting max or near max numbers. Contrast that with the Russian weightlifting system, where they are spending the majority of the year between 70 and 80%, and then they're saving up for competition. both of them, both systems have produced world champions. All right. And you could even throw the conjugate system with, Westside barbell into the mix. And the conjugate gets a little more complex than that. But here's the big thing is you look at the injury history of those systems and who's still around, who can still move and has not had a ton of surgeries or breakdowns from their body because of just overuse, I don't want to say overtraining, but just too much all the time, and eventually the system will break. So this is why it's a good idea to rotate exercises, rotate intensities, rotate the focus of what you're trying to adapt to, like what's the singular training adaptation you're trying to develop. So just some things to think about there, but I'll do some more of these and give you guys some more stories along the way of lessons learned in the weight room. So if you have questions, comments, anything you want to hear more about, make sure you comment below, shoot me a DM. You can always email me, travis@dynamichp.net, and we can hop on a call and talk about your specific situation. All right, have a good day.